Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Doers Within Growth Markets. And I'm really honored and I'm just super grateful to have with me here Gwanygha'a, Ghana. Actually, it's a close relative of mine, but a very amazing guy doing some incredible work in Ghana. I'm just going to read a brief bio about him. And please, I apologize to a fellow family member, friend, that if I didn't pronounce the name correctly first, but Ghana is currently an MBA candidate at Harvard Business School and the co-founder of Garage Mobility, an auto tech startup transforming transportation for Africa. Previously, he worked at Boeing as the product manager within Boeing Product Development Organization, where he led a team on a new platform development initiative. So Ghana graduated from Georgia Tech Grade School with a BS in electrical engineering and an MS in data analytics. He also co-founded Kebuthreads, an African-inspired clothing brand, and he's a casual bartender. So Ghana, thanks again for being here. I know you have a very busy schedule. Super grateful that you're here to share your story about Garage Mobility. So welcome to the podcast, and please, just a little bit about yourself. And I apologize if I pronounce it first.
No, thanks for having me. I guess I can tell you quickly about my background.
Sure.
So I grew up in Cameroon. I grew up in Douala. Spent most of my years there. Went to a boarding school called Sacred Heart College for 7 years. I left home when I was, roughly 10 years old. Went to school for 7 years. And then following that is when I started my journey at Georgia Tech. Did a couple of years. I was studying electrical engineering. That's kind of when I got into entrepreneurship. Tried a couple of different things. None of them worked out, but all like amazing learning experiences. Going from like an idea to actually building something and launching it on like the App Store and Play Store. That was super cool to me. And then kind of following there, I was fortunate to get a position in Seattle. So I worked at Boeing. Amazing years of development, both like technically, but also like working on a lot of soft skills, navigating large companies and working a lot of senior folks. So those are amazing years. So we got the opportunity to be on the design team for some feature airplanes, which was kind of cool to see all of that start from scratch. And then it's an idea by some people, and then they actually start designing the plane, and you see prototypes, and that was super cool. And then again, entrepreneurship has always been something that I want to do, and I like to do. And I think around maybe a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, it's a problem that I used to always face where my dad still lives in Cameroon today, and I was based in Seattle. He takes his car to the shop and they're charging him ridiculous prices, like 5x for to get parts to fix his car. So he started reaching out to me, and so I'll go on eBay, like sourcing parts, figuring out if it's the right part that goes into the right car. Or like talk to his mechanic, or all right, that's the part. So I buy it on eBay, ship it all the way to Cameroon, or find somebody who's flying back. Just a painful process. And I had a good friend of mine who had actually built a company on the continent before and exited it. Cedric, who's my co-founder now. So I reached out to him. I was like, dude, this is my biggest problem. There's got to be a better way for you to be able to just get parts on the continent. Right? It doesn't make absolutely no sense. So that's sort of how it started. From there, we just kind of went through the motions, research. We actually flew to Accra, met a couple of mechanics, went to the big parts market just to have a good sense of the market. So we spent a lot of time in places where, it's funny, our friends on the ground would be like, why would you guys go to that market? Nobody goes there. But, we were doing our research, so we did that. But yeah, that's how it all started. Today we have a small team on the ground that's executing. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks so much for sharing. And I do think sometimes, a lot of great companies start with personal, like a personal experience. And I think second too, like having a co-founder that has had the experience building something on a continent is a huge plus as well. And I think third, like Ghana is also a very good place to begin with. Um, like building something that of that magnitude. So thank you so much for sharing. And just to piggyback on that, with respect to how you guys got started, and as I said, or maybe you have already alluded to this, but can you just give us what you saw once you were on the ground? How did you experience, like, how did you see the challenges that you like, what were the challenges that you could actually experience while you're in Ghana, and also on the flip side, how was that? How did you see it as an opportunity for you guys to really say, okay, this is it. Let me spend a few months or probably the next few years building this incredible idea.
Yeah, I think that the best way to explain, I can tell you a story of a lady that we met, and her experience getting her car serviced.
Awesome.
Her name Gifty was her first name, and I don't know exactly how she heard about Garage because we're still quite early. We weren't really doing a lot, but we had a few flyers out. Right, we're giving some flyers to our team to go hand out so people know a little bit about us. So get a call from her. She's somebody who works. She has a 9 to 5 job, and she needed her car to get fixed. What happened? She had reached out to some mechanic.
Yep.
The guy had gone to the market, bought some parts, brought it to her, told her all of these were going to cost 900 cedis. And we're like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
She called us to say, this mechanic is charging 900 cedis. I have no idea what I should actually be paying. That's about 150 bucks.
Yep.
So we talk to her, and we go to the market. One of our teammates goes to the market, sources the exact same parts, and we realize it's 300 cedis, 50 bucks. So the guy literally charged her 3x for parts. I mean, she's a lady, she's busy, she's working. She doesn't have time to go to the market, right? So I mean, this is just one story of somebody getting ripped off and being charged 3x. But it's like it's a similar story. You talk to a lot of folks, even our friends on the ground. We're telling them this is what we're working on. They're like, yeah, I have a story about some mechanic that did X, Y, Z, and I had to pay this amount. And so for us, it was like, there's an opportunity, one, to create transparency in the market, but also we quickly realized that there's a huge supply chain problem. The reason you're paying that huge amount is because oftentimes what you want is not really available. And so the few people that have it, they can charge you a crazy amount. And then you're either too busy to go source from like 10 different places to find who can actually give it to you at the best price. And so we figured, well, there's room here for somebody to come in, create a little bit more transparency, improve the supply chain for parts, and then eventually help people be able to get what they want at the right price. So that's the sorts of experiences that we found. And honestly, just speaking to people, no one collects data on anything. It's all pen and paper. But we saw an opportunity to kind of sort of digitize this supply chain one step at a time. So that's kind of how the experiences on the ground translated to what we're doing today.
That's incredible. And I know we discussed prior to beginning this podcast, one of the things that we based on the work I do at the Christensen Institute is studying market creating innovations, a concept that was conceived by the late Professor Christensen, and he came up with this definition of how do we create new markets, and market creating innovations at the core of it. And I think, just simply put, market creating innovations literally making products that are expensive and are available for a select few to be affordable and accessible to many. And I think, to my own opinion, studying that innovation, I think you guys are in that space of market creating innovation, and it's really hard, because you're creating a new value network. You're going after people that they don't have time, as you said, alluded to with the story, but that in itself, that's where prosperity comes from. That's where you create immense wealth for people, in the community as you build a company. And I really applaud you guys for what you guys are, the journey you guys are on. And I think that's a very inspiring take. And I hope most of our listeners, in fact, all our listeners, check out your company, Garage Mobility, and we'll definitely put the links there and people can reach out to you in Ghana. No, thank you so much for sharing. And beyond your co-founder, which you alluded to, are there other people on the team that have played a role, or people just want to highlight on this podcast in terms of, or advisors or friends that have really helped you brainstorm some of these concepts or ideas?
Yeah. I mean, there are quite a few folks. Besides myself and Cedric, our team, we have a decent sized team, 20 or so folks in Ghana. We have a small team we're building out in Nigeria and Cameroon as well. I'll say with some of the key folks that helped us on the ground today. Our new head of operations, amazing dude. His name's Prince. Super knowledgeable. I kind of helping us go from that stage where everything is a little bit chaotic to having some sort of structure. So he's been an amazing help. Friends on campus as well. I mean, we talked about our other colleague Pelkins is also being a good sounding board, and then obviously a couple of our investors have been really helpful. Golden Palm is one of them, as well as a couple of others that again just helpful in advice, connections, introductions. Again, all of that stuff really helps. Good friend of ours on the ground, Ato Bentiencho. He's been super helpful for us on the ground. So yeah, so many people, so many names that I'm missing, I'm sure, but those are the few that quickly came top of my list.
Amazing. It takes a village to build a great company.
Yeah.
And just to bear in mind, literally the 3 people that have been on this podcast, that a few months later they raised money, millions. And I mean, you can check it out. So I mean, I think one thing that is really cool, and I'm really fortunate, is that I meet people that one day they have great, great vision, have great team, and literally the markets. When I say markets, the capital markets or even private markets really appreciate the work they're doing. And a few months or even a few weeks later, I see them on the news raising a lot of millions of dollars, which I find very compelling because it shows that just beyond the financial investment that they get, but also like how they're envisioning the future of Africa is something that's very compelling, that people are really willing to back them up beyond that team members, but also investors out there. So I'm looking forward to seeing on the news.
You can't tell if you're fishing or not.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm predicting the future here. No, thank you so much for sharing that. And just now to get into some just inspiration question, but I think this is where people can really get a sense of kind of your, what you value, and just also beyond that, like how you really, there's one thing of being a great company, but beyond that, how do you see the impact that company will create in the communities, right? And one thing that maybe it's not said a lot, and it is the first question, is like, how do this building a company is stressful? And if I may ask, how are you managing stress? Because I know right now you're finishing your final year, you're trying to, do communications back and forth in Ghana, maybe you're applying for your trip down there. How do you manage yourself so that you don't go?
Yeah.
If you can share with that, that'll be.
Yeah. No, great question. Everyone has their way of managing stress, quite frankly. For me, combination of sports, taking long walks. It's kind of hard to do the long walks in Boston now because it's freezing. So yeah, I do play sports. I love running, especially running without any headphones or any music. It's a little bit therapeutic. And then meditation's another one. I've been slacking on that, but those are some of the key ways that I personally de-stress. I think folks have different ways, but for me, a combination of sports, running, meditation usually does it.
Yep, those are two great ones. It's the meditation. Did you use the app Calm?
No, I use Headspace.
Headspace. Oh, okay.
Yeah, make sure you get the guy with the British voice.
That's fair. That's fair. That was a good one. Let's go to the next question is like, what are books that you have been reading or that really helps you to see maybe how to approach the market? Or I mean, it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, but like just books that inspire you, keep you going. Do you have any books that you will mind sharing or you recommend to our audience?
Let's see.
And it
The
doesn't
last
have
book
to
I
be
read,
can be
I
videos.
probably won't talk about it. The last book I read, I wouldn't share here. It's PG, very high. But yeah, the one book that inspires me is one called Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek. Um, and I think this is probably one that I read when I was still at my old job. One of the things that I enjoy a lot is just like learning about leadership, talking to people who study leadership. So that was just a good way for me to learn more about, like, if eventually someday you'll be leading a bunch of people, like what's your responsibility to them? How should you think about what your responsibilities are as a leader? And so that's when I tend to look back at a lot. There's another one called The Goal. That's probably the fastest book I ever read. I think I read that in like a day or two tops. And it just essentially how do you like plan, accomplish things, remain super laser focused. That was kind of my takeaway from it. But yeah, those two are two that, every now and then you just go open up a chapter and like see what's there. Yeah, those would be two that highly recommend to read.
That's awesome. This the first one, was it called Strategic Leadership with the Simon?
No, Leaders Eat Last. Leaders Eat
Oh,
Last.
Leaders
Yep.
Eat Last. Okay, that's okay. Definitely add the link to the end. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'll definitely have to read the first one, especially the second one. I have issues with goals.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing book, and it's an easy read. It just flows. You just kind of keep going, and if you have a few hours, you could probably, if you're a fast reader, you could probably read it very quickly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this is the last but one question. What will you tell young Africans, either in diaspora or on the continent, on out there who are trying to start companies or who are trying to create an impact back on the home, on the motherland? Would there be any takeaways based on your own personal experience that you love to share, and or any inspirational words or phrases or
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm at the stage where I can inspire, but I mean, I'll tell you what I've learned.
Yes.
And be that, you could take that and see if it applies or not. But I mean, one thing that I know has been consistent throughout, whether that's, here or, personal life or my old job, is, just building the right relationships. I've found that a lot of decisions that are made, and even speaking to investors, like to invest or not to invest, yeah, you can have a fantastic idea, but usually boils down to the sort of relationship that has been formed throughout the process. And so I advise anyone who's trying to build, or even if you're just trying to, I don't know, go work for some other company, like the importance of relationships is huge. It's huge. Cultivating them, keeping in touch, updating, learning about what people are sharing, making sure it's two ways and not just take, but also give. To me, I would say that's one thing that could be consistent over time, is just building the right relationships. And maybe if you start building a company, the people that will help you recruit your first 2-3 hires is a friend who introduced you to somebody else, or a mentor that told you to talk to somebody. So relationships are huge, but also maintaining them, being intentional about maintaining them.
Definitely. I agree with you on relationships. I think that's really powerful. Just being genuine about people connection goes a long way. That's 100%. I 100% agree on that. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The last question, which in some cases, it kind of, I guess it's, I've probably might ask this in a different way, but how do you, in your own way, I mean, I know now it's like you're at the very early stages, as you said, but what do you want your legacy to be once you build this, let me say 10 years from now, which I am 100% sure I will bet myself on this. You're gonna make it really big. How do you want that legacy to be, either Garage Mobility or just you as a person, the way you're creating impact on the African continent? I want this recorded, so when you look back 5 years, you're like, yep, I said this, Sonny.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for legacy, for probably, I don't know, raising good kids, that's probably one thing.
That's a very good one. That's very
good kids that are responsible, respectful, and maybe entrepreneurial if they want. I think that's probably a good thing to leave behind.
Definitely.
I mean, garage wise, I think personally, what I'll hope is that we build a company where our employees can compete with any other employees around the globe. And compete is up to you to interpret how you mean compete, but the standards that they operate at should be nothing less than what you would operate at a company in the US or a company in Europe, Asia. That to me will be a great accomplishment. I think building such a company with those kinds of processes in place to get people to perform at a world-class level every day, that would be amazing.
Yeah, actually, this is the first answer that I've gotten, like raising good kids. That's like, wow, I was like, I've never had this, but that is really powerful. And I mean, the co-founder of Andela, I don't know, it was either the co-founder, but someone in Andela said something to respect to the company, like building, working with, I'm sure it's Andela Photo with one of these Nigerian companies that he wants people that can compete on a global stage, employees that'll be able to compete on a global stage. So that's incredible. And so thank you so much. I think that you have enlightened me, and definitely the listeners who could be enlightened as well. And I'm personally looking forward to seeing how this evolves and really create impact, not just in Ghana or Africa, but perhaps in the world as well. So thank you so much for sharing your story, and we're looking forward to seeing great things from you.
No, thanks for having me, man. Excited to share what we're building. And we should get a whiskey next time you're around.
For sure. Okay, man. It was great to see you. To all our listeners, it's Ghana again from Garage Mobility. Right now in Ghana, but no, the focus is kind of creating accessibility to high quality, just car manufacturing, but car management across Africa, and I think they're already doing some incredible work. So looking forward to having your feedback on this episode, and we are excited to see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, everyone.